Today, we have someone truly exceptional joining us on the Beyond podcast series, a man who moves to his own beat, reshaping Montreal's culture, landscape, one event, one meal, and one voice at a time. Don Garrett is more than just a DJ. He's a storyteller, a vibe curator, and a change architect. As a voice actor, his voice brings stories to life, captivating audiences far and wide. And as the founder of Tasty Touch, he's serving up Caribbean flavors that celebrate culture and community with every bite. Don Garrett is a leader, a visionary, and an unstoppable force. We're here to dig deep into the mind of this changemaker, uncover what fuels his passion, and learn how he's turning his dreams into realities that impact our communities. So, without further ado, let's welcome the man who's redefining what it means to be a creator, innovator, and inspiration, Don Garrett.
Thank you, Ms. Trish. I just love that. I love that. I was just absorbed in all of that. I was loving that. Thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction.
Thank you. I wrote that because I know you and I really respect everything that you do. So I was like, you know what? Don needs the best intro.
The feeling is mutual. And this is why I see why we work with you all the time and you're at all the good events because you're a pro.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Not just because you're talking about me.
I know.
But because
I like it. It's me.
The wording was like your flow. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. So Don.
Yes.
Given all that, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what inspired you to actually start Tasty Touch?
To start Tasty Touch, a good question. I get this asked quite often, but it was circumstance. Sometimes things happen and you end up in a place that you didn't plan to be. I never planned or seeked out to start a food business or a catering business.
Okay.
Truth be told, I was going through some downtime and a friend of mine that was had an organization dealing with the community had tried some meals that I had made at, when we had get-togethers and all that. I said, hey, I love that lasagna you made. You think you could make it? I have a small group of families that I'm working with in the West Island. And you think you could help us out? I was like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I made it, brought it in my own Tupperware, my own pots and pans from home. It was like, okay.
Like normal.
Responded, she's like, oh, you know what? Can you do this a little more regularly for us?
Okay.
And we started doing it on a regular basis. And it became a domino effect. She's like, how about you do this permanently for us? Can you provide this service for us on a regular basis?
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
Like,
it's for the community. It's for families. It's a win-win all around, right? So I'm like, okay. And I'm a foodie. I have a bit of a passion for food. So I had no problem doing it. And that started, actually, Tasty Touch is going to be 10 years old next year.
Woo! We're going to celebrate that.
You know what I mean? Like, this is our 9th year. I had no plan for this whatsoever.
Okay.
It was like it wrote itself.
That's awesome.
It steamrolled. And that just led to people would be there and be like, hey, we had some great food. Oh, yeah. Where'd you get it from? Oh, this catering service, Tasty Touch. And then we went from one organization. It went from ACDPN to CDNBCA to eventually introducing us to Overture with the Arts.
Right.
Now we're with West Island Black Community Association.
Beautiful.
And the list just continues to grow and grow and grow. And most recently, just to fast forward a little bit, I know I left a lot out in between there.
That's okay.
But to fast forward a little bit, imagine that started back 9 years ago. And we just did Strangers in the Night, which is the biggest event for anyone in the food industry in Montreal. We just did it for the first time. This past September. So the growth has been tremendous.
Wow. So proud of you guys.
I got to give a lot of credit, of course, to my partner. My wife is...
Of course.
It's a 50-50 venture.
Exactly.
Like, totally. She's behind the scenes.
Shout her out really quickly. This camera right here.
Shout out to Nikki. So,
there you go. So, as someone who juggles multiple roles from DJ catering to voice actor, what do you see as the common thread in everything that you do there?
Everything, especially the music and the food, they're the same thing.
In what way?
The music is the ingredients.
Okay.
When I go to a club, my records, the songs, those are the ingredients.
Right,
and you put them together. Not everything goes together.
Right.
It's the same thing with food.
Okay.
You got to find the ways to put the right foods together, the right ingredients together to come out with a good final product that everyone will enjoy.
That's true.
You're feeding the masses.
Right.
In one, with the music, you're feeding them kind of spiritually. You're making them feel something on the inside.
Yes.
And with the food, you're feeding them spiritually too, but you're also feeding them physically
Right.
and with the belly. So I really find the two go hand in hand. And I think that's why I was able to make a bit of a transition. First and foremost, I'm a music lover, DJ first and foremost.
Of course.
The Tasty Touch is another side of me that I'm very proud that I had the opportunity to do.
Right.
But the two go hand in hand. And the reason why I think we got a lot of success too is because anywhere I am doing DJing, what's the other thing that you're doing? You're eating. So
you're eating. If you're not dancing, you're eating.
Hey, you give me a call, I'll take care of the music and take care of the food.
There you go. I love that. And how do you stay grounded and energized while balancing all of these passions and responsibilities?
Teenage children. When you go home, it's left at the door.
Okay.
You know, and with your family, they keep you busy, and they're my biggest pride and joy.
Of course.
Darius and Dana, my two children, they're my pride and joy. They're my number one.
Yes.
They keep me very grounded and very focused. I never get ahead of myself. And I think, and of course, Nicole,
yes.
Nothing will keep you grounded like a wife.
Yes,
She will remind you,
yes.
don't go too far. But for me, it was never really an issue because I've had some great highs in my career and I've had lows as well. Mm-hmm. So I've seen both sides of it. So when I have the highs, I appreciate them. I celebrate them. I'm happy for them.
Right.
But I don't let them define me.
Okay.
Like, I don't, even some people, oh, Smooth, man, you're so humble. You've done this, you've done that. And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And I'm like, I'll always have that. That's there for it. But I'm not going to be in your face about it.
Of course. I got
you. Know what I mean? I have those memories, I have those experiences, and I know I'm going to have many more still to come ahead. So that keeps me grounded because it's like, yeah, that was then, and I'm still doing stuff now, but I'm always looking forward. Yes, I did that. Fantastic. Great. I want to know the next big thing.
Right. And then what point in your career did you realize you were making an impact in the Black community?
You know what? One thing that really stood out to me, because I write for Community Contact as well. Rest in peace, the late Egbert Gay, who gave me the opportunity. I remember, and I approached him because it meant so much to me. Growing up in the Black community, the Community Contact was a big part of it.
Of course.
You know what I mean? There was no social media. You couldn't find out what was going on
unless you got
online.
You had to get a Community Contact. That's right. Yep.
And it was either when you went to the West Indian Market, the barbershop, or in church.
That's it.
Right? So moms would always bring home the Community Contact, and I followed along what was going on, and I would read it religiously. So after I started doing radio at K103, I was like, okay, I'm at a level now. I can reach out to Community Contact. I think it'll be a benefit to them to have Don Smooth in their newspaper. Right. So I reached out to Egbert Gay and said, oh, man, I would love to have you. He's like, listen, I can't pay you more than a beer. But he's like, I would love to have you.
One thing with Egbert, very honest man. Very honest man.
He told me straight up, he's like, the best I can do is give you a beer.
That's it.
And I started writing with them, and I saw the impact because then my mother came home. All of a sudden, like I was Don Smooth in the club for years, at least 10, 15 years at this point. I was even Don Smooth on the radio. But when I became Don Smooth, the writer in Community Contact, and now it was in the churches and in the West Indian markets, the community now had kind of saw a different side of me and reading my stories and all that. And then all of a sudden, my mother turned into, oh, that's Don Smooth's mom.
Yes,
and she came home and with a certain pride, and I was like, now it's like, oh, you're really doing something out there in the city. You're not just making noise in my ears. You're really out there doing something.
I love that.
So yeah.
We spoke a bit about Egbert Gay. I'd like to go back because he was such a pillar of our community. He was our community contact, if you really think about it, right?
100%.
What did you take away from him? What did you learn from him?
Not to be afraid to be honest. Yeah. One thing I learned from Egbert, he didn't care who he was around. He was authentically Egbert, 100 Trinity to the bone.
Right.
He didn't care if he was in a room full of politicians or if he was at the roti shop down the road.
Exactly.
What you saw was what you got. He told you as it was, and he was very authentic. And what he showed me was never think too small and be yourself.
100%.
He was like, he pushed me and encouraged me to do things that he saw that I was able to do, but I didn't feel ready to do at the time. Like I remember, I think it was the 15th anniversary. He did a huge gala for his for the paper, for Community Contact. He had all the politicians were there and former radio hosts and TV personalities. He's like, Don, I want you to be the MC, the host. I was like, Egbert, I host parties. Like I get up and I talk on a mic in a party. I said, you want me to talk in front of the media and politicians? And I'm like, I said, Don, just show up at 6 o'clock. Like he wasn't even hearing anything that I was saying.
Right.
He's like, man, just come and do the explicits and whatnot.
Yes.
I did it, and that gave me such a boost.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I could do this. And he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And he was a person, anyone that knows Egbert would tell you the same thing.
Exactly.
He could always see what was within someone, and he knew what you were capable of, even maybe more than you yourself as the individual.
He believed in us very much, all of us. You know, I can't tell you one person said anything different about Egbert. No. He believed in us 100%.
And the authenticness about Egbert.
I'm telling you, he was amazing. We definitely miss him, eh?
I do. I really do.
Yeah. So in your view, what does it mean to be a change maker, especially within the Montreal scene?
Well, you know, as more and more as time has gone on and I've been fortunate enough to be in the situations that I've been in, I've seen them like, we have to do it.
Yeah.
We have to support our community. It's the only way the community can evolve and grow. When I got my platform on the radio, I'm like, okay, you got this platform now.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
What are you going to do with
it?
So, and everybody's different. But for me personally, I took it as, I got this platform, I got to do something to make a change. I started encouraging local artists, local talents, local people in clothing, anyone that was local. I said, you know, Toronto's not going to big you up.
Exactly.
You know, New York, I'm like, the guys in the positions here have to big up their locals. It's very easy to support what's already big and already made. I really took it personal to go after local talent, local artists, showcase them, shine a light on them, because I was getting my opportunity to be on a platform. So I shared the platform with others in my city. And till this day, people still come up and, Smooth, I remember you wrote about me in Community Contact. That was the first time I was in a newspaper. Hey, Don, you were the first person that ever played. The first time I ever heard my song on the radio was with you. And I'm like, and I love the quote from Dave Chappelle where he says, one of the things that means so much to him is being a part of someone else's memory.
Of course.
And that is something that touches me every time I hear it. I've become the part of so many Montreal memories and stories for people that people don't forget those things.
Of course they don't. Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I know that I impacted people. You know what I mean?
I love that.
I'm very proud of that.
That's good. And what role does storytelling play in your work as a DJ? It also says you're a voice actor.
Yes.
And a restaurant owner. Like, what role does it play?
Well, that's good. Like, I guess the thing that they have all in common, think about a DJ set. When I approach a DJ set, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end.
Exactly. Okay, right.
When you're going to eat a meal, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Very true. And the voice acting?
The voice acting is a little different. That came about, I guess, from all the years of doing radio. And I started doing commercials for the station I was on. And then people outside of that sphere started reaching out to me and saying, hey, would you be interested in doing this and interested in doing that? And I was like, why not? I'm like, it goes hand in hand. I'm doing it anyway. I've been talking and doing stuff like that. But that's a whole different world. And it was such a challenge. Like, you think, it's a 20-second commercial. It's not.
It's not.
It's really not. Like, you have to convey emotions without any physical attributes, without any visuals.
Right.
And I never thought like I would be sitting in a room for an hour repeating one sentence over and over.
Just to get it correctly.
And then you hear it and it just flies by in the commercial. But I like the fact that was something that was challenging. But that's something that I'm definitely going to push to do more of. And I love storytelling. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, so I love to hear how things are structured.
Of course.
And I like to be taken on a journey. And I try to do that in anything I do, take the people on a journey with what I'm doing.
I love that.
So I love that about storytelling.
That's good. And you bring people together through music, food, and your voice. Yeah. How do you see these mediums as a tool for community building?
It's one thing. It'll get people. The music will the food will get them there.
Of course.
Offer them food, they'll come to your event.
Exactly, that's right.
The music will keep them there. And then, at the same time, you entertain them. So you bring people together, but very importantly, and that's something that Overture with the Arts captures so well, 100%. They bring the elements together, and then the people are getting a message, and they're getting that message so comfortably, and they're taking it in such a nice way. It's the way it's presented, right? So that's a good time to say, hey, I value your time. Come over here. We're doing this, we're doing that. But, we all like to have fun and joke and all that. But at the end of the day, we might have a serious message that we want to relay to you.
Of course.
So we're going to take your attention. We're going to take care of you. And we're going to feed you this knowledge, food for thought at the same time.
I love that. I love that. And how do you want Tasty Touch to be remembered as a part of Montreal's cultural landscape?
Wow, that's a good one. Nikki, you have an answer? That's a good one, Ms. Trish.
Thank you.
I would like to be... I want us to be remembered. One of the goals that I talked to my son Darius about this just last night. One of the things I would like to see is more Caribbean. I want to see the Caribbean franchise.
Of course,
we see it in so many other cultures have managed to bridge the gap from their cultures to the North American Canadian culture. I would like maybe Tasty Touch to be known as someone that did that, and we've been able to do that in a lot of the events that we do, where we get people that. I was shocked when someone said, I've never tried jerk chicken before. In my head, I thought everybody in the world has tried jerk chicken. So I'm like, okay, I bridge the gap. We already have our West Indian foundation and our base.
Right.
So Tasty Touch, I would like us to be known as someone that's introduced more people outside of the community to our culture and to our foods. And I really want to see that. I want to go to the mall and see Caribbean Caribbean stall
yes.
and stuff like that.
Of course. That's what we want that. We're going to make that happen. In a world where food and culture are so deeply connected, how do you approach keeping your cuisine authentic while adapting to new trends?
Yeah, that's there's definitely a balance to be done in that because you don't want to go away from the traditional. There's a certain ways that things are made.
Right.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, 100%,
right?
Yes.
But at the same time, you have to evolve because then after a while, it's the same thing. So what we do a lot is that we take a look at what's out there and we try to, I guess fusion is the word that they would use for it, but not overly done. Like some people just mix and match things just for the sake of calling it a fusion and mash up things that necessarily don't go
need to
together.
Be mixed. Yes, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, yes.
So it still has to make sense. So I'll borrow on stuff like, it's something as basic as jerk wraps. A lot of people do that now, but like we did the jerk wrap. So we're like, okay, Tim Hortons super popular in Canada. We're gonna make a Caribbean twist to it, change the filling and make it more Caribbean, have jerk wraps inside there. So for the Canadian side, automatically it's familiar.
Of course.
And then the Caribbean people get the Caribbean flavor and then it comes together beautiful.
Okay.
When we were doing the festival, I was sitting there and I was thinking, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do for festival? I was like, okay, I grew up in Park Extension, very Greek neighborhood. Yes. I grew up eating more souvlaki than I did roti as a child. I said, hey, it's on a stick. Festivals, people always want to walk around with food on a stick.
That is true.
I said, jerk on a stick. Catchy name.
Of course.
And it was jerk chicken done like a souvlaki, but it was jerk chicken on a stick. And just people were coming, I want the jerk on the stick. So that is something that we try to do. So that's how we fuse. So I'll take a look at something that's very North American friendly. We've done jerk pizzas and stuff like that as well.
Good.
So I look at the Canadian and just swap. At the end of the day, meals are not like a roti, a souvlaki, a shish taouk. It's all a sandwich. It's wrapped.
Yes.
It's different seasonings,
that's right.
different presentation. But at the end of the day, it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's tweaks to it.
Of course.
So I look on influences from other cuisines and I see what we can do to mesh the two together. And
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Okay. So you think jerk chicken wraps, Boustan wraps. You think those are the same thing, Don?
They're the same thing in the essence of the foundation. It's a bread, it's a flat bread with meat and vegetables inside. At its core.
Okay.
It's different seasonings and ingredients 100%, but at its foundation, it's the same thing. It's a flat bread with chicken inside.
You're funny. It's true, though. I don't want to admit it, but it's true. That's why I'm like, you sure? Anyway.
Yeah. Like our mango salsa is very popular. That was a take on everybody loves Mexican and loves salsa. So we're like, how do you make salsa Caribbean? Mangoes or pineapples? And
that's true.
Has been a huge hit for us.
That is very true. So what is one misconception people often have about being a DJ?
They think it's a lot easier than it is. Especially now, people think you're just pushing buttons. Like, oh, what's the big deal?
Okay.
Just go and play music. Oh, so I could. And now, especially because music's so accessible, everyone thinks, well, why do I need a DJ? I have Spotify. I can just go and put on music. What do they do that's so special? But they misunderstand that it's a talent to curate a playlist and to put everything together. So anytime somebody comes to me with that kind of talk, you go ahead and do it. I guarantee you they won't do it twice. That's the biggest misconception. It's not just pushing buttons and it's not just playing records. Not when it's done right.
Okay. I got you.
Not when it's done right.
I understand what
it's
you mean.
It's a lot harder than it looks when it's done right.
It looks like it's very difficult, but you guys do it so seamlessly well, so I give you all the credit.
Thank you.
Everything going on in the music industry right now, how do you think that's going to change things?
It's something that I study and I watch, and one thing that's changed tremendously in the DJ world is that you have like 10 times or 100 times more DJs you did when I started out, because now it's essentially free. When I started out DJing, you had to pay for everything, all the equipment, all the music. Now you can get away with a laptop and some software. Nobody pays for music anymore. That's like a foreign concept. And that was like the biggest expense back in the day. So I think we're going to see a lot more coming in. And when you have too much people doing it, the quality starts to come into question. But at the same time, on the other end of that is the guys that are still doing it, and the newcomers that come in that are doing it right, they're going to separate. They're going to stand up so much more from like the guys that are just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Absolutely.
Like the cream will rise to the top and you'll really see the difference. Yeah.
And can you share a memorable story or interaction you've had with a customer at Tasty Touch?
I'm wondering. We've had so many now to pinpoint, through all the years of doing the festivals. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a favorite one. I'm thinking. There's a lot of memories.
I know
we've
there are.
served a lot of meals.
Okay, or maybe your favorite event or anything that stood out in your 9-year journey of doing this catering for Tasty Touch.
Well, I'll tell you one highlight that comes out. Yeah, okay, I could say that because I'm trying to think. My mind's just bombarded with, that was a good time. This was a good time. That was a good time. But actually, you know what? Even on a personal note, now this just comes back to me because it was at the brunch last year, Christmas brunch.
Yes.
At the Overture with the Arts Christmas brunch.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if it was a mother or aunt or a family member came in to the kitchen and said, I just want to thank you guys personally because my 7-year-old grandson doesn't like food. He doesn't eat anything.
Wow.
And he ate the whole plate and asked for more. She's like, I had to bring him to meet you guys in the kitchen because she's like, he's a picky eater. He doesn't really eat much. She's like, he ate all the food that he got here today and wanted more. So stuff like that really, like that impacts me. We get great feedback for the most part when we do our stuff, but I'm like, wow. Like when you tell me that someone, or when we often get, so-and-so, they're picky eaters and they don't like to eat. And they're like, man, they ate the whole plate. They ate all the food.
It's a great compliment.
You know, when you touch on those people, that I remember that.
That's good.
That just came back into my head and I said, yeah.
That's great. And what motivates you to keep on pushing boundaries and doing everything that you do?
I feel very, very blessed that I love what I do and I get to do what I love and I make a living off of it.
Yes.
So I don't take it for granted. I'm not going to sit down on my hands and be like, no, it's like, keep going. I'm blessed. So this day, I would say it's over 2 decades that I've been in the DJ business and I'm still booked on a regular basis.
Great.
Tasty Touch is doing well. We're continuing on. We're continuing to grow and voice acting is always there. So, and now I've returned to radio. After a 6-year hiatus, I'm back on radio again.
That's
so
awesome.
All of these things, it just shows me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Don't take it for granted because it's a blessing once you can do what you love to do.
100%.
So I stay in it. And I know that you got to stay fresh. You got to keep on evolving and growing with the times and changing with the times and keep it entertaining. Keep people coming back.
And what's next for Don Garrett? Are there any big projects or dreams on the horizon we should look out for?
Right now, well, of course, Island Fete 2025.
There you go.
That's a massive project.
Yes, it's going to be huge.
That's massive.
Huge. That's right.
That's a huge thing. I have a collaboration coming up. I can't get into it about it yet.
No problem.
Maybe when we speak again,
no problem.
Then we can get into more details on that.
Sounds good.
Still, my events continuing on. And like I said, right now, the big project is back in radio, working back in radio. So I'll be joining a drive show very soon in the city of Montreal airwaves. So be on the lookout for that. So making my return to radio is big on the horizon for me right now.
That's awesome. We want to hear you, Don. We definitely do. Last words, what advice do you actually live by on a daily basis?
Run your, I hate to sound cliche, but it really is true. Run your own race.
Yes.
Like you really have to focus on yourself. And I try to impart this on my kids a lot because you're so bombarded on the social media. You think, oh, this person is the same age as me or younger than me. And oh, look what they've done. But everyone is just putting their highlight reel.
Exactly.
They're not showing the sad days and when things don't go right. It's not always, they're picking and choosing what they're showing you.
That's right.
So run your own race. What's meant for you is meant for you. And just because it didn't meet you yet, it doesn't mean it passed you.
Right.
What's meant for you is meant for you. And I truly believe that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you've been doing this maybe a little shorter time and you got here and you're here. Stay focused with like a track star. When you're running, you're not looking in the lanes next to you. You're looking at the finish line.
That's right.
And you will get there. What's for you will come to you.
That's
so for the young and aspiring artists, don't focus on what anyone else is doing. We're all running our own race.
100%.
Like it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
And just focus on what you're doing. Be authentic to yourself. Whatever your craft is, put your all in it, put the work in it, be consistent, and the results will come. Not in a week, not in, but the results will come.
Consistent and patient.
Consistency is key.
And patience.
And patience.
Yeah, patience is key because you know what? We always want things to happen right away. Yeah. Because like you said, we see social media happening right away, and we think that that's the way it's supposed to go. But
100%.
Comparison is a thief of joy as well.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
So you can't do that. But Don, thank you so much for being on this episode.
Fish.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. We will be back with our next episode. Take care.